Whoa, yes. Yondu, stage 9, solo clear. Got that fucking orange mohawk, dick hanging out, blue balls, pinky ring, ear pierced. Call me Yondu with the fierce neck beard, hands tied, S&M all night. I'm sorry, guys. All right, we got to do this solo clear again here. I tried for a long time to do this with Ronin, I think. I don't think he can get it. He doesn't CC all 4 of them well enough. Pretty big fan of yours here in Chile. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I always love to have a spicy meal. Oh, that's a nice lineup. Yes! Maybe we got this, boys. Yes! 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 I'll try to stop saying yes. No, I won't. Yo, I'm running show with Ronin right now, guys. If you ever want to see a Korean person playing, holy shit, dude, I'm doing it right now. I haven't seen the clones once, dude. This is insane. Are you fucking kidding me, Ronin? Dude, are you fucking kidding me? A floor 10 rumble. Okay, I have to use this for YouTube, so I have to calm my voice down. A floor 10 rumble with no robots. We did not see the Ultron clones once, guys. This is my first time trying. Are you fucking for real? Do you guys understand what's going on right now? I CC'd 4 Ultrons to the point where they never summoned the Ultron clones once for the whole Rumble. The entire Rumble, guys. 2 minutes of Ultron fucking madness. This guy is the trash compacting expert. Holy fuck. That was insane. Wow. I'm surprised that I did that. I'm shocked that I was able to do that. Fucking Ronin. 4 Ultrons. 2 minutes. 0 clones. That's mind-blowing. I'm not even like, I'm totally 100% serious right now. Wow, 2 minutes of hammer curls. I mean, I've never been able to handle my hammer for more than 2 minutes without finishing, so I'm impressed. Wow. Let's fuck Ronin, indeed, man. He deserves to be hung out with. He deserves a nice lobster dinner. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and I hope that you enjoyed that tour de force, that display that we put on during the live stream, guys, because that's a live stream clip from Sunday or Saturday, depending on where you are in the world, where we did Shadowlands. But my man Ronin putting in the work, guys. Now, for starters, I wanted to bring you guys that clip because it's just so awesome, and because Ronin, as you guys know, or you may not know, is one of my favorite characters in the game. He was one of my first tier 2s. He was one of my first ever 6-star characters. And so I wanted to bring you that clip for that reason, but I wanted to also bundle that in with another topic that does get asked pretty frequently in the comment section, and it's something that I tend to ignore because it has been mentioned a lot before, but I haven't made a dedicated video about it, so I felt that we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone because, as you know, my aim is amazing. So I really want to go and break down exactly how it was possible for Ronin to complete that rumble in the way that I did it, because it wasn't about damage, it wasn't about a strong leadership or any of those reasons. It was purely because of the CC, the crowd control. Had any of the Ultrons had enough time in their skill rotation to cast certain skills, particularly to summon the Ultron clones or the robots, I would have died, because Ronin probably would have taken enough residual damage from the robots to kill him. And I had failed several times on that mission, on that particular stage around 10 or 11 in previous weeks, attempting to solo it with Ronin. This time, however, we did it on the very first try, and I admit I was very zoned in and I was super ultra laser-like focused, but there's also a lot going on in regards to Ronin's skills that makes him uniquely situated to dominate Shadowland stages like that. Now keep in mind that Ronin can't dominate any Shadowland stage because he does have a pretty average run-of-the-mill DPS, so he does run out of time in some stages or take too much damage over time to not last the full 3 minutes. But in an early stage, you know, in the single digits, or if you have him tier 2, up to maybe the late teens even, he can solo a stage based solely on his crowd control. And crowd control is the question that I do get asked pretty frequently. What's crowd control, or what's CC? Because the C stands for crowd and the second C stands for control. It's crowd control. Now, crowd in this situation, in this game, in most games, just means the enemy. So crowd control can be likened to enemy control. And what enemy control means is you're doing something with a skill that stops the enemy from doing something else. So any kind of debuff is crowd control. Doctor Strange's time freeze is probably the most famous version or type of crowd control that you know, where everything freezes inside of that golden clock on the floor for 4 seconds. So what Ronin has that really makes him uniquely situated to dominate the way that he did in the clip that I showed you guys is the fact that with his uniform especially, he has a lot of crowd control available to him. So let's take a look piece by piece at actually what was going on. So I was using Hammer Charge pretty regularly, and Hammer Charge has a 3-second stun. So that's the first bit of crowd control. That's the first piece to the puzzle. The second skill that I was using very frequently was Merciless Gavel, which has a 1-second bind on it. But that 1-second bind is actually coupled with a 3-second fear. It's hard to see how Merciless Gavel has a 3-second fear because it doesn't show up here on the tooltip when you press the skill. But if you go and unequip his uniform and you go back to the original classic Guardians of the Galaxy version, you can see here that Merciless Gavel has changed its name to Arbitration. And now that has a 3-second fear effect. So with his uniform Annihilation, that 3-second fear is coupled with and preceded by a 1-second bind that also has a pulling in effect. So you pull the enemies in, you bind them for 1 second, then you hit them, then they get feared for 3 seconds. So right there you have potentially 7 seconds worth of crowd control. As well, he has an excellent guard break. It's basically a guard break on Judgment Call, and I've used that several times throughout the fight to continue to control the Ultron minions and the Ultron bodies by just constantly hitting them. That's basically like guard break, or it's kind of like stun locking the enemy. It's kind of difficult, or it's hard to explain because it can be confused with a regular stun effect. So certain skills have stun effects native on them. So for example, Hellstorm's Trident Thrust has a 3-second stun. When I say stun lock, I don't mean using effects that have stuns, or I don't mean using skills that have stuns, because a lot of Ronin's other skills do not have stuns. Only Hammer Charge has a listed stun. But if you continuously hit the enemy in Shadowlands, you're basically stun locking them, or you're continuously breaking their guard so that they can't attack, and then you basically have the same effect. They're rendered useless as long as you continuously hit them and you don't give them a chance to recover. So in total, Ronin has a 3-second stun on Hammer Charge, he has a 1-second bind and a 3-second fear on Merciless Gavel, and then he has a partial stun, or at least an interrupt skill, on Judgment Call, as well as Universal Weapon. Law Enforcer could have an interrupt as well, but it's kind of slow on its last hit, so I usually cancel out of it after 2 attacks to ensure that I can continue to interrupt and kind of pseudo guard break, pseudo stun lock the opponent or the enemy by continuing to attack. And really, chaining attacks is a really important part of Shadowland, and it's something that you'll find really benefits certain characters. So for example, despite the fact that she doesn't have any CC or crowd control effects, Angela can be used to great effect and great success in high-level Shadowland stages where it's a one-on-one, because she has very fast skills that have a lot of hits and have fast animations, and they're on low cooldown. So if you spam them in the right order, you can kind of stun lock or continuously interrupt the opponent so that they can't actually attack back, because they need that pause of about a second to initiate their skill. And the other thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that we can actually abuse the Shadowland mechanics by doing this. So I've done this to pretty, successful and consistent effect against the Rocket Raccoon boss when using someone like Silk. Because Silk has crowd control effects with her webbing, she interrupts the opponent's skill rotation. And I know that there's some kind of skill rotation embedded in every single character for the Shadowlands PvE content, all of the AI opponents, because they rotate pretty predictably through their skills. They may start on certain skills at certain moments unpredictably, but aside from that, if you can interrupt them for long enough, when they come out of their interrupt, they're generally going to do one of two skills, and they're going to miss out on usually their bigger skills. In Rocket Raccoon's case, I was trying to get him not to heal, because when he heals, then he gets back health, and it reduces the amount of time that I have left to kill him, because it's a 3-minute stage on the Shadowlands level. So by continuously webbing him up, although I was doing less damage overall and taking longer to kill him, I was stopping him by interrupting his skill rotation to the point where he never actually casted the heal effect and summoned Groot. Likewise, in the clip that you guys saw with Ronin, the Ultron minions did get, or the Ultron guys, the Ultron villains, the different types of Ultron, did get the opportunity at certain points to attack me, but because they had been out of their skill rotation for so long, more than 10 seconds in some instances, they weren't immediately rotating to their final skill, their best skill, where they summon more Ultron clones. And that worked to great effect in my favor, and that made the stage a lot easier to handle, because controlling and CCing and crowd controlling 3 Ultrons is much easier than 20 Ultrons or 30 Ultrons, which that Rumble is known to do given how hectic it can get. So those tips and those ideas are really important for you guys to take not only into Shadowland, but also into your discussion of different characters when you're looking at them from a PvE standpoint of view. How good is this character's CC? Crowd control is an important part of the game, and as they introduce more characters who have CC effects that maybe can affect world bosses like Doctor Strange and Enchantress, or that can affect Shadowlands, which is basically everything else, it will continue to have an effect on whether the character is good or not. In the case of Ronin, he's always been basically just a leadership, but now we can see at least one more instance where he's useful as a pretty decent mid-tier Shadowlands solo clear. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this discussion. I hope I've cleared up for you exactly what CC is, what crowd control is, so we never have that question asked again, guys. And of course, if you like what you see, guys, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.